Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley McManus. A highly anticipated meeting took place at Queen's Park this morning. Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Health Minister Sylvia Jones sat down with the federal ministers to discuss details of the health funding deal offered earlier this week. Siobhan Morris has the latest.
So how are you feeling?
The Premier reveals he actually met with the Federal Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs ahead of today's sit-down.
Yeah, we had some cigars last night. It was great, and we're gonna sit down today and follow up with our meeting from last night.
To hammer out the finer details of the Tailored to Ontario healthcare funding plan, something the feds said they were looking forward to.
To continue the collaborative, positive process that we've developed with the Government of Ontario.
Going into the meeting, the 10-year Ontario deal includes $8.4 billion to help with primary care, staffing, and mental health. $776 million in emergency cash to help in ERs and children's hospitals, and a to-be-determined amount to cover pay increases for personal support workers. Gripping a copy of Ontario's recently announced three-tier plan to improve health care, the minister in charge has concerns.
We want to see sustainability. We're making investments in the province of Ontario, and we want the federal government to be part of those long-term investments.
Beyond 10 years. After about an hour behind closed doors,
Nice to see you.
the Premier and federal ministers greeted students touring Queen's Park and talked to reporters together.
It was a very productive meeting. There's still a little bit of work to do, and again, I always stress this, we have to consult with all the premiers right across the country.
While Ontario had hoped for more support on home and long-term care,
There's no pot to sweeten when we're trying to work together, as the Premier said, to improve the healthcare system for Canadians.
a process that may only be starting.
We were very pleased and proud to be sitting with Minister Jones and Premier Ford this morning to have this initial conversation.
To improve health care for Ontarians. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Plans for a new skate park for the former Dease Pool site could roll forward on Monday when a new detailed concept is presented to City Council. Park staff and the local skateboard coalition insist the development will be a boom for the area, despite some concerns from neighbors. Vasilios Bellos explains.
Since Dease Pool was demolished in 2020, many have had their own ideas regarding what should replace the century-old facility. On Monday, City Council could be one step closer to finalizing that decision after a presentation outlining a detailed concept plan for the proposed skate park Urban Plaza. Parks Supervisor Werner Schwarz says this design is meant to be more friendly to those new to the hobby rather than the big skate park at Prince Arthur's Landing.
Of that is it's a small version. It gets people comfortable with that kind of element before going to the big one. And it also, they took great effort in coming up with some features and layout that kind of stylistically alludes to the Dease Park pool.
The proposed skate park isn't the only project at Dease Park. A boarded year-round rink was already installed last year. Schwarz believes offering these physical activities will not only benefit the users, but nearby property owners as well.
Creating activity, especially at this high visibility corner, that it will encourage the youth to come participate in constructive activities, neighborhood building activities, and then less likely to hang out and cause damage.
Very exciting. Like, even for me personally, I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up one block from here.
The Thunder Bay Skate Park Coalition, which played a massive role in the construction of the Marina Park site, has also been advocating for the new facility at Dease Park. And while many in the neighborhood might be concerned about the noise, Coalition Chairman John Kelly believes the proposed design will help alleviate that.
If you're on a rough surface going down a sidewalk, it is noisy. When it's on a proper, smooth concrete, the sound is significantly decreased, and it actually is less noisy than, like, say, hate to say, the hockey rink right here. Like, it's going to create less noise. You don't have pucks shooting around, bouncing around, balls bouncing. Like, those things create noise as well. So there is going to be a sound barrier across the back and on the sides. There'll be trees.
If council approves the concept plan, administration will be tasked with carrying out community consultation with user groups and those in the area, with a report expected back in late September. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
The Ontario Civilian Police Commission has officially dismissed the Police Services Act charges against former City Police Chief Sylvie Hoth due to her recent retirement. In its ruling, released on February 1st, the OCPC noted it doesn't have jurisdiction over Hoth anymore, as she's no longer employed as a police officer. She had been facing charges of discreditable conduct and deceit, which were to be the basis for a hearing that was scheduled for this month. Hoth originally announced last June that she'd retire in June of 2023. Just hours later, the OCPC released the Police Act charges against her. Hoth insists she didn't know about that when she made her initial announcement. Last month, though, Hoth pushed up her retirement date to January 27th, less than 2 weeks before her hearing was set to begin. A new Ontario Provincial Police K-9 team has been assigned to Thunder Bay. Constable Amy Sloan and her four-legged companion, Edo, have completed the OPP's service dog training program and are now working out of the detachment on Arthur Street. Kurt Black introduces us.
After completing an 18-week training course down in Orillia, the newest member of the local OPP detachment, Edo, a 2-year-old Belgian Malinois, is all set to hit the streets alongside his partner and handler, 10-year OPP veteran Constable Amy Sloan.
He likes to work, he likes to search, and he just keeps going. He just likes to keep going. Because he's a Malinois, he can be described as like a jack of all trades, but a master of none, because they're very versatile, adaptable, and we're asking of them to do a variety of different things.
The pair joined 2 other K-9 teams in northwestern Ontario, based in Fort Frances and Kenora. But while those units specialize in search and rescue, Edo's focus will be on the illegal drug trade.
So he will be specialized with drug detection. So that'll be another course. It's 5 weeks. We'll be going on that shortly.
Now, as tempting as it might be to want to pet Edo if you see him out on patrol, Constable Sloan asked that all residents keep their distance at all times.
Yeah, so with a working dog, don't approach, don't pet him, and also just don't approach us in general. He is a working dog. I'm not saying that he's dangerous. I have good control of him, but you never want to just approach and touch. But that goes with any dog.
Constable Sloan says police dogs average up to 8 years on the force, so you can expect Edo to be the paw of the law in these parts for the foreseeable future. Kurt Black, TBT News.
A food security initiative for remote First Nations is getting a $4.5 million boost from Ottawa. The program is distributed through KCETS, which also inked a memorandum of understanding with Lakehead University today. Jess Clement has the details.
The federal government is investing $4.5 million over 18 months in food security for 5 remote Matawa First Nations.
So there's Webequie First Nation, the Skandiga First Nation, the Betamik First Nation, the Yamatong First Nation, Martin Falls First Nation.
The money is going to KCETS, an employment and training services agency, for the administration of its Harvester Support Program, which allows remote communities to access nutritional foods and other staple purchases here in Thunder Bay, where the items aren't so expensive. KCETS Executive Director David Negan says many people take food security for granted.
We have so much opportunity in terms of buying adequate food, and in our northern communities that in terms of the produce and the meats and so forth that are available to them, that it's very limited because it has to be flown in. And the cost of food is just extremely high.
What KCETS and Matawa has been able to do to launch and to try to advocate for this type of program, it really does go back to the community. It is about our people. It is about being able to do that in our own communities, in our own settings, in our own traditional means.
KCETS has also signed a memorandum of understanding with Lakehead University to help Indigenous people access education and training opportunities.
We're really looking at how we can complement each other and to work together on the needs coming from KCETS rather than certainly not what Lakehead has. And we do have programming that community members can take advantage of already, and we can look at that. But it's really talking about how can we add on to what's already going on, and that's how the MOU allows us really to, or provides that avenue for us to have those discussions.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The Fort William Rotary launched its 37th annual House Lottery today, with proceeds going to a number of local charities, including Our Kids Count and the Regional Health Sciences Foundation. This beautiful 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in the Parkdale subdivision is valued at $750,000. A total of 20,000 tickets are on sale now at a cost of $100 apiece or $250 for 3. There are also $50,000 in early bird and cash draws available to be won. House Lottery co-chair Bob Hookham says it's amazing to see how the draw's grown in nearly 4 decades. The very first grand prize all those years ago was valued at less than $100,000.
Ticket sales were brisk. The last couple of weeks we had to go door to door to actually sell enough to make sure we were covered, and then things sparked up in that campaign and we ended up making a few dollars to put back into the community. Every year after that it grew and it grew and it grew, and the effort became as concentrated but a lot less effort to also get out there.
Open houses will run on Saturdays beginning March 4th. Tickets for the Canada Day draw can be purchased during those open houses or on the Fort William Rotary website. A big thrill for hundreds of students and staff at Elsie McGill School this afternoon. They were treated to a special concert from Thunder Bay's own Locklear Boys, a duo that's found a lot of success in the Canadian music scene in recent years. It's a homecoming of sorts for Will and Charlie Locklear. The brothers went to elementary school at nearby Agnew H. Johnston, and many of their former teachers moved over to Elsie McGill when it was built across the street. They say it's a big thrill to be able to give back to the school community that gave them so much.
Every time we go to a school, there's kids that come up to us after and say, you know, I'm going to learn guitar because of this. And we get messages on Facebook from parents saying, you know, my kid is singing your song now, or my kid is, you know, just being creative and trying new things. That's the big message that we have here is if you want to do something, don't be afraid to do it. Don't let anything in the world sort of hold you back.
We always participated in music events that our elementary school put on. Like we were in musicals. We've done musicals around the city, and that was sort of like the beginning. And then we decided, you know what, we want to actually be a band. And so we did that too, and here we are.
The Locklear Boys recently returned from Vancouver, where they shot a video for their new single, Feel, which is set to be released in March. Well, Fiona, it felt like spring out there again today.
Yes, I did a walk earlier this morning, and it definitely had a spring feel. There was lots of puddles, lots of slush, and then ice underneath. So if you are going by foot anywhere at this time, please do take care, because you never know what you're stepping on as you're out there. And that's because we had overnight lows below the freezing mark, just barely, -2 and a wind chill of -4. But daytime, we were above freezing at 2 Celsius. Lots of cloud today and increasing winds. Started off very light from the northwest, 3 kilometers per hour. But as the afternoon progressed, we hit 28 kilometers an hour during the afternoon. Now to the west, temperatures have been falling all day. They're currently at their low of -7 under mostly clear skies, but wind chills are making it feel like -14 as we head further north. A little cooler in Kenora at -8, a little warmer in Dryden at -6, but Red Lake, well, they had periods of light snow off and on in the afternoon. They also saw temperatures continuously fall. They're currently at a low of -12 and a wind chill at this hour of -20. As you head eastward, you can see the warm up again, -6 in Sioux Lookout, -3 in Armstrong. Greenstone currently at -7. Temperatures have also been falling there, but much more slowly, and they don't have the wind chills that we're feeling to the west in the region. And also, of course, light snow most of the day. Marathon currently at -3, Nipigon at -4. And Sault Ste. Marie on the plus side, 3 Celsius. Their temperatures have been rising all day, which is kind of what you expect during the daylight hours. Now, here in the city of Thunder Bay, it's going to be quite a bit cooler than last night, but as we have been noticing, much more seasonal temperatures, -16 and a wind chill of -22. We are expecting a few flurries. Nothing you're going to have to get up early to shovel for, not to worry, but there is some snow on the way overnight tonight, And then tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit cooler. In fact, it's going to be quite seasonal for this time of year, and I'll have more details on that later on in the news hour.
Well, thank you so much, Fiona. Well, yesterday, tragedy struck Laval, Quebec, when a bus crashed into a daycare center there. And today, Quebec's premier paid a visit. We'll have all those details for you when we come back.